What's going on, guys? My name is Neeb. Welcome back to Aromatics. Today we're going to dive into 7 fragrances I wore last week. Sometimes it's usually actually more than 7 fragrances. This week, however, seems to be a little bit lower of a number of fragrances. If you've seen one of my reels recently and you want to know a little bit more detail, this is the place to be. Check out my weekly rotation videos. First day this week, we started off with from Prive Couture, and it's called Elysium. And this is basically from Arda Zafran. This is very close to the original Elysium. It actually gets pretty damn close. The only downfall of it is you're not going to get more than 3 to 4 hours. It gets the spiciness, it gets the herbal nuances, the aromatic facets. You're going to get some of that leather dry down, but it never fully goes into the dry down. This, in all honesty, is perfect for those of you that go to the office, want to kind of just have something throughout the day to really layer on every 3 to 4 hours. This will be that go-to. And this was just from 1 days of wear, so I just kind of just caked it on, just a little bit. But throughout the day, I kept spraying this on every 3 to 4 hours, and actually, I'm going to the gym after this and might as well cake this on. So you will smell yourself for a good 2 hours, and then it lasts on clothing for another 2 hours. Really not bad. For $30 and below, not too bad. Elysium, it smells like Elysium, but just doesn't last the longest. Elysium by Prive Couture. The next day this week, I decided to rock something that's a little bit old school, now discontinued. From the Givenchy Gentleman lineup. I'm starting to pull these out because I want to do a little compiled video of the Givenchy Gentleman line that I have in my collection. Kind of just do like a little rating scale. So the first one I decided to wear was this bad boy right here. And this is basically, well, it's discontinued now, but it's their freshy version. A little bit easier to wear during the summertime, but the one note that I really didn't enjoy in this one is petitgrain. It's very, petitgrain is very green, it's slightly metallic, at least to my nose, and for that reason it gives me a bit of a headache actually. Most fragrances with the petitgrain note kind of just give me a headache. So this one lasted a good 5 hours. It was nothing spectacular. It does have some of that signature iris that's found in the DNA, toned down a little bit, some citruses, musk, and mostly musk and petitgrain really is what this one comes down to. With that performance and everything considered, for me personally, this is about a 5 out of 10 type of fragrance. So that's what I wore the next day. The following day after that, I decided I'm going to stay true to this DNA or this lineup because I really want to get that compilation video, and I decided to go with the original or the re-released version, which is Gentleman Givenchy, the EDT. This definitely is the versatile king of the line. It opens up with this beautiful fruits and just pineapple, and then you have the undertones of the iris and things like that. And this one I feel like is the comparison to the original Dior Homme, the one with the lipstick bag makeup iris. But for those of you looking for that heavy influence in the fragrance, it's not going to be that heavy here. It's more so about the fruits. It's very mass appealing and it's easy to like. A lot of people did compliment me on this one, but I didn't get more than 4 to 6 hours. When I thought it was gone at around 3.5 hours, I did get a compliment, and then I sniffed up on my clothing, and it was still there at hour 6. So nevertheless, it's not the best thing in the world, but it's an easy daily driver fragrance, signature scent worthy. You get pineapple, fruits, some iris in the mid, and it's really not bad. Gentleman's Givenchy is probably one of the easiest and the best ones to start off with. The next day this week, I decided to go with something that I wanted to wear, which is very rare. And believe it or not, I wanted to wear this thing right here, and it's Armaf's Hunter Killer. And if you get your nose on this, you'll understand why. This is a hard candy, basically cherry flavored hard candy. Smells fantastic. Smells like Guerlain L'Homme Ideal Extreme. So super sexy vibes, and it lasts 8 hours easily. It's a powdery cherry and sugar type of fragrance. Not only that, but it comes with this necklace that I'm probably never going to wear, but it's still a pretty heavy necklace. Nonetheless, this to date is my favorite Armaf fragrance, Armaf Hunter Killer. They killed it with this one. Very, very sexy. Maybe even slightly unisex, but I think that it's going to be unisex for the women that like to go or tread into the territory of darker, a little bit more masculine fragrances. Armaf Hunter Killer, don't let that one pass you for sure. Next day this week, I decided to start off my little Spicebomb journey, and the one that I wanted to start with is the Night Vision EDT. I know I enjoy the EDP a little bit more, but I never got a full wear of the EDT, and so I decided, you know what, let's go ahead and get that. But I have to report to you guys that I'm a little bit disappointed. I'm actually quite disappointed in this one. I didn't get more than 4 hours out of this fragrance, and I did spray it at least 15 times. So The opening did something a little bit different. It's a nice contrast type of fragrance, and these types of DNA really does get women's attention, or attention in general. I would place this fragrance in the same family or category of fragrances like Azzar's Wanted by Night, but in my opinion, that one does it in every better way. Reason being, there's a contrast of sweet, spicy, and a little bit sour. The sourness, mostly from the fruits. It's not sour like your typical type of sour, but more so acidic or citric type of sourness. This fragrance does the sour, sweet, and fruity, but the problem with this one is I don't feel like the spicy is at where it should be. And the milestone that I use for this fragrance is Wanted by Night. That fragrance gets a lot of attention. Something about the contrasts and just the different levels of the fragrance, or the fragrances that do this kind of trifecta, really does garner a lot of attention. The fruity, the sexy, the sweet, the spicy, it's pretty seductive. And that fragrance actually does a couple more accords, or gives you a little bit more for bang for buck. Reason being is that fragrance, Wanted by Night, also has incense and some earthy nuances. So you're going to get pretty much this fragrance and some. And for that reason, I definitely think that the cake goes to Wanted by Night, whereas this one, it really does fall short. There were some times where I thought, a little too sour, not really balanced. Whereas Wanted by Night, I felt like it was a pretty good contrast. Although it's not that much of a balanced or blended fragrance, the different levels were kind of matching. Although one level would be at a sharp left and the other nuances might take you on a sharp right, they were still pretty leveled in the degrees that they kind of went out in. So this one didn't really last that long. It was forgettable and pretty disappointing. Spicebomb Night Vision EDT for me is a hard pass. I would probably give this at around a 5 to a 5.5 out of 10. I'll be testing out the rest of my Spicebomb collection, which is pretty much all of them except for the Freeze. And I'll be doing the same thing that I plan on doing with the Gentleman lineup. So we'll be doing comparisons and all that good stuff. Next day this week, I decided to go with something a little bit sexier. We had our celebration, and a lot of people requested this one. This is Dolce & Gabbana, the 1 EDT dupe, and it's Portofino Noir by Riffs. Guys, I have to admit that you really can't judge a book by its cover, or you can't stereotype a brand based off of 1 or 2 fragrances. I say that because some of the Riffs fragrances weren't performing really that well for me, and this one kind of just changed the game. I honestly got 7 hours out of this fragrance. Granted, I did cake it on at least 14 times, but for hours 6 and 7, I could still smell it. And at first, I thought, okay, skin scent 6 or 7 hours in, but no, actually, I could really smell it if I go into maybe a half arm's length. So really not bad. The first hour, I got about an arm's length of projection and 6 to 7 hours of total longevity. I will give this a couple more wearings to test it a little bit further before I give a full review, just because of the history with Riffs. But so far, I'm really enjoying Portofino Noir by Riffs. And the last fragrance, that very night, I decided to rock something a little bit more natural smelling, and that's exactly what this fragrance is. It's a niche brand from the Middle East, and it's called Taif Al Emarat T12. You guys, this is an all-natural fragrance. There's no alcohol in here. So what does that mean? That means that it's not going to project the loudest, but it's going to last long. It does not do anything in terms of jeopardizing the longevity of the fragrance. It still means that it could last pretty long, but this fragrance in itself doesn't really last that long, and it's not really loud. The most I get with this one is about 4 hours of longevity, and projection, it's probably around a half arm's length the entire time of the fragrance. Those that do come close to you are going to smell you, and you're going to smell like money, because this smells like summertime money. It's very refined, it's very posh, it's citruses with some iris, slightly in between the natural iris and a fantasy iris. It's a little bit of both worlds, but very, very nice, very posh, and very high quality stuff. It just smells like a super natural citrus iris based fragrance. That's really what this one is. For me, I think that this one is a more personal enjoyment type of fragrance, or when I'm going somewhere that's going to be really close encounters. T12 from Taif Al Emarat does not disappoint, but it does in terms of the performance department. That's pretty much all fragrances that I wore this week. What did you rock this week that really stained your brain? Have you checked out Armaf Hunter Killer? You guys, just because it doesn't have the price tag doesn't make it not good. But of all these fragrances, you guys, the 3 that really stuck out like a sore thumb definitely has to be, at number 1 was the Armaf. At number 2, Portofino Noir really did an excellent job. And the last one is the one that got me a lot of compliments, which was Givenchy by Gentleman. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. And if you did, scroll down, hit that subscribe button. And until the next one, peace.